You know that feeling when your brain feels like it's trying to juggle um, a million different wellness trends all at once?
Oh, absolutely.
Like 1 minute it's mindful journaling, the next it's cold plunges, and you just think, can we just breathe?
Yeah, like take a pause.
If you've ever felt that pressure to constantly optimize your well-being, well, you're definitely not alone.
And that's exactly what we're diving into today. We've got this real interesting report from Verywell Mind.
Ah,
Yeah, looking ahead to the mental health trends they're predicting for 2025.
2025. Wow.
And look, this isn't about the next, fad diet or anything. It's more about the real shifts in how we're all thinking about and prioritizing our mental and emotional health.
Right. And what's cool is that this report is based on a survey, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
double 1,000 people.
Exactly. And they paid close attention to what Gen Z is saying.
Okay.
So it gives us this fascinating snapshot of what's sort of coming down the pipeline in terms of mental well-being.
And even though it's got that strong Gen Z lens, these trends, they really do ripple out, don't they? They affect how all of us are navigating our inner lives.
For sure.
Okay, so the first big shift they're seeing is uh, around how the brands we interact with are starting to think.
Yeah, this is interesting. What's fascinating here is how we're seeing a bit of a departure from that old idea,
Well,
just focusing on
the
appearances.
whole look good, feel good thing.
Exactly that. Now it seems like more and more brands are starting to recognize the importance of mental health.
Hmm.
And they're trying to weave in empathy and like genuine authenticity into their messages.
It makes you wonder, though, what's driving that change? Is it like a genuine societal shift, or is it more that brands are just responding to what people want?
That's a really good question. The report highlights a couple of examples.
Oh,
They
yeah.
point to Maybelline and their Brave Together initiative.
Oh, I think I've heard of that.
Yeah, focused on mental health awareness.
Yeah.
And then ASICS with their Personal Best campaign.
Personal best.
Yeah. Which seems to tap into a more holistic sense of achievement, not just, pure performance.
These feel different, right? It's less about a hard sell
Yeah, definitely.
and more about connecting on a human level.
Absolutely. And if you think about the impact this could have on, someone listening, when you see major companies openly acknowledging mental health,
Yeah.
it can really help break down stigma in our everyday conversations that can make those feelings, maybe anxiety or stress, feel a little less isolating.
If they're being talked about more openly, yeah.
Exactly, out there in the world around us.
And it seems like this really resonates, particularly with younger folks. The survey found over half of Gen Z said they'd have a more positive view of brands that include mental health in their messaging.
Over half, wow.
Yeah. It suggests that people are increasingly looking to support businesses that kind of reflect their broader values.
And mental well-being is definitely becoming a key value for a lot of people.
For sure.
It makes you consider the power we have, as consumers.
Mm.
Our choices about where we spend our money can send a pretty powerful message about what's important to us.
And it appears that for a growing number of people, supporting brands that care about mental health is becoming a priority.
It seems that way.
Okay, so hopefully we'll see more brands genuinely embracing this. But the next trend is all about our own connections, our communities.
Right.
The report talks about a social renaissance and the rise of third spaces. Now, for anyone who hasn't come across that term before,
Yeah, what exactly is a third space?
think of those informal gathering spots outside of home and work. Maybe your favorite coffee shop, a local pub.
Like the bar in Cheers or
Yeah.
Central Perk and Friends.
Exactly. Or even the community center.
Yeah.
Places where you just bump into people and build those like casual connections.
Okay, got it. So what's the report saying about them?
Well, what's interesting is that these traditional third spaces have maybe been facing some challenges lately.
How so?
Well, we've seen shifts towards more remote work, maybe local spots sometimes struggle financially.
Right, things change. But the fundamental human need for connection, for that sense of belonging,
Yeah.
that hasn't gone away, has it?
Not at all. So how are people adapting?
That's the key question.
Exactly. And this social renaissance seems to be about people, particularly Gen Z and Millennials, getting creative in building those connections.
Getting creative how?
They're using online tools, but not just for like online communities.
Mm-hmm.
They're using them to actually facilitate real-world meetups.
Ah, okay, so using the internet to get offline together.
Precisely.
That's neat. The report gives some really tangible examples of this, like the resurgence of run clubs,
Oh, yeah, run clubs are huge.
book clubs, even things like supper clubs where you might meet up with people you don't know initially.
Strangers, yeah.
Yeah.
It points to this real desire for in-person interaction. Especially, as people navigate different life stages where building new friendships can sometimes feel like a bit of a hurdle.
Totally. And it's not just a feeling, there's data behind it, too. The report mentions a Strava survey from last year where, get this, over half of the respondents actually made new friends through fitness groups.
58%, I think it was. That's a pretty significant chunk of people finding connection through shared activities.
It really is.
And if we connect this back to, someone listening, have you ever felt that pang of loneliness? Especially if you've gone through a big change like moving or switching jobs.
Oh, for sure. It happens.
This trend highlights how people are proactively seeking out those in-person connections.
Right. It suggests that actively looking for or even like creating your own version of these third spaces, whether it's joining a local hiking group or starting a neighborhood book exchange, that can be a really powerful way to build community in your own life.
I love that. It's a good reminder, isn't it? While our digital lives are convenient, there's still something irreplaceable about those face-to-face interactions. All right. The last big trend the report highlights is really interesting, especially given the economic climate a lot of people are navigating right now. It's the idea of radical stability.
Radical stability. Okay. This trend feels very much rooted in the current economic realities, doesn't it?
Totally.
Particularly for younger generations dealing with things like, wow, high housing costs, student debt, just general economic uncertainty.
Yeah, that's a lot.
The report points out that a significant percentage of Gen Z, 39%, I think, actually cite personal finance as a source of negative impact on their mental well-being.
That constant pressure, it can take a real toll.
Definitely.
Absolutely. So in response to all that, the prediction is that we'll see a greater focus on what they're calling radical stability.
Now, that might not sound super exciting at first glance. Radical stability.
Yeah, it doesn't scream thrill ride.
But it's really about intentionally prioritizing security and building a solid foundation, rather than maybe chasing constant, sometimes unrealistic growth or change.
Okay, so it's like a shift in focus.
Exactly. What's noteworthy here is how the definition of success might be evolving.
How so?
It's perhaps shifting away from that relentless pursuit of the next big thing and more towards making conscious choices that foster a sense of long-term security and well-being.
Okay, so what does that actually look like in practice?
Well, the report gives examples like intentionally staying in a stable job, even if it's not the most, glamorous role.
Okay, steady wins the race, kind of.
Kind of. Prioritizing saving, opening retirement accounts, really focusing on budgeting and making considered financial decisions. Safe choices, maybe.
And again, it seems like Gen Z's already kind of tuned into this.
Yeah.
The survey found that a majority of them, 57%, report that maintaining a personal budget and having an investment portfolio actually has a positive impact on their mental health.
That's really telling. It suggests a real awareness of how financial stability contributes to overall well-being, not just financial health, but mental health too.
Yeah.
So if we consider how this might relate to your own life, anyone listening, think about any financial worries you might have. The idea of radical stability offers a sense of agency, maybe, in an often unpredictable economic landscape.
Right, taking back some control.
Yeah. It's about taking control of those foundational elements to ideally reduce stress and cultivate a sense of security, even if it means embracing a more steady, perhaps less flashy approach in the short term.
Makes sense. So, okay, to bring it all together then.
Yeah.
We've looked at how brands are hopefully becoming more attuned to mental health.
Yeah, that shift towards authenticity.
The inspiring resurgence of in-person communities helping us build those vital offline connections.
The social renaissance, the third spaces.
And this really grounded movement towards radical stability as a way to navigate economic pressures and sort of foster inner peace.
And what's powerful when you look at these trends collectively is that they suggest a broader societal shift.
Towards what exactly?
Towards valuing genuine well-being over maybe superficial markers of success. Oh, okay.
It's about seeking out connection, feeling secure, and being seen in a way that truly nourishes our mental and emotional health.
That's such a key takeaway. It's about genuine well-being.
Yeah.
So for you listening, maybe think about how these trends might already be playing out in your own life.
Good point.
Are you noticing brands whose messaging resonates more deeply? Have you felt that desire to connect more in person lately?
Or maybe you've been drawn to a more stable and secure approach to your finances.
Right. What small step could you take today, maybe, to lean into one of these shifts in a way that supports your own well-being?
Because even small, consistent steps, they can make a big difference over time, can't they?
Absolutely. For more insights and a deeper look into the forces shaping our well-being,
Yeah, more wisdom.
make sure you follow along.